It's time for Tower Talks with Inside Towers, the wireless infrastructure industry's podcast. And here's your host, Inside Towers business editor, John Celentano.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This episode is sponsored by Inside Towers Intelligence, a quarterly market report that dives deep into the digital infrastructure ecosystem. It looks at market trends, capital expenditures, relevant M&A transactions, and more. Intelligence is designed for managers, marketers, and investors. An annual subscription also includes an exclusive briefing and online support. The 2025 Volume 2 issue is out now. For more information or to subscribe, visit insidetowers.com/intelligence. We have a really good topic today. Large organizations deal with a lot of data that is often siloed or not shared among internal groups. Certainly in infrastructure markets, projects range from site acquisition and permitting to engineering to construction and finally ongoing operations and maintenance. Such organizations could benefit both from a time and cost perspective when all groups in the company can see and share data across the entire process. Database platforms are available to facilitate an orderly compilation of access to that data. Here with me to talk about one such application is Paul Alder, Vice President Delivery at OneVizion. Paul, welcome to Tower Talks.
Thank you, John. Really exciting to be with you here today.
Great. Well, give us a high-level view of the company, Paul, and the OneVizion platform.
OneVizion is a kind of low-code platform. It helps large and small organizations and with their complex projects by replacing spreadsheets and disconnected data, processes, and tools.
So how does the platform tie it all together and streamline that information exchange between the various client functions and departments?
It's designed to help organizations get on that single pane of glass. It's one view, it's one vision, so to speak. It's getting those, as you mentioned, those different departments and teams. It's getting them together into one location with their data.
So it's a database we're working from, or what is
Yes.
the platform?
Yeah, it's a cloud-based database that gives you the ability to have your environment in a secure cloud environment and a secure access for the users.
And is there something proprietary or something unique about what you do that kind of sets it apart from other platforms? There are either tablet-based or laptop-based systems that track projects and pull together a lot of data. But what would you say is unique about what you're doing?
We have pre-configured solutions, or we have customized solutions with the platform. So it's building out an organization of that data to the customer's needs. So everybody kind of looks at that data in different ways and organizes it in different ways. And so we want to provide our customers the opportunity to either come into a kind of like a set solution or modify it in a customized solution.
So how is the platform configured so that you can accommodate these various data sets from different groups within the organization?
So we have a term or a process within the database called link record architecture, or LRA as we call it. I like to think of it as a matrix of blocks. Each of these blocks are going to be unique. They have attributes that are unique to them. But with that uniqueness, those blocks need to be connected with other related blocks, other related data points, right? But because of the uniqueness, because of the way that data is organized for a customer, within these blocks, they need to stretch across that matrix and be related to other blocks that aren't part of kind of like a parent-child relationship.
Right.
You're building a one-to-many, or you're building a many-to-many relationship with the data. And so you have grandparents to parents, parents to children that need to be connected to their cousins, right? And so you get the relationship built there with that link record architecture, or LRA, to really make some definition behind that matrix.
So if we're looking at one screen, what can the user do to navigate through all of that and connect to these various parts of the data and the relationships that are formed between them?
The power is given to the end user to leverage views of that relationship or
Mm-hmm.
filters of that relationship
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
information
Mm-hmm.
so that they can individually cater the data to their working role or
Right.
their participation with the data.
Mm-hmm. And they can define search prompts or search parameters to find data elements in different parts of the database, right?
Yep, whether it's a set kind of organized set of kind of like column views or
Mm-hmm.
set filtered of documentation that's needed,
Mm-hmm.
then they can cater it to their working environment and their working structure for the day.
What's the learning curve on this? I mean, is it fairly intuitive? Is it a little bit of training and they can go on their own, or is it fairly complex and it requires a fair amount of hands-on from you to help them along?
Through an implementation project or process, right? We train
Mm-hmm.
the end users, we train our customers' administration users
Mm-hmm.
to do both, right? To learn how to navigate and use the system, but also how to train other users.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a set number of users, large or small, that need access, some that needs kind of like restricted access. And so we go through that training to help them understand both internally for the customer or client that's managing the data, as well as the end user, let's say a contractor, right? The
Right.
contractor may only need to have permission to
Right.
see
Right.
certain projects. So
Right. Gotcha. So let's maybe you can give us a few examples of some vertical. You don't have to name companies. That's not of interest, but sort of the application in some different verticals where you've deployed and had success with.
I'm going to share a personal experience to kind of share. My first exposure to OneVision was managing a nationwide build out for a microwave interconnect company
Hmm.
here in the United States. And I was working with all of those departments you started with. It's SIDAC, permitting, engineering,
Hmm.
construction, maintenance, right? All of those organizations were involved in this project. And every week we were deploying the project with the tool and we were using exports from the tool. We were using
Hmm.
spreadsheets from the tool of the data to organize and execute on that project. One of the things that I really missed about that project, not the stress, didn't miss the stress of the project, but when I left that project and went to a large services organization here in the US, I went through withdrawals because I was using Excel
Hmm.
and SIDAC wasn't connected to construction, construction wasn't connected to engineering, and we were scattered with our data, right? I'm working with customers both at the national and international level right now that are leveraging this structure of link record architecture, taking those matrix, right, their block of data, and working with carriers, tower owners, equipment suppliers, service
Hmm.
companies to execute on their projects, manage that data, report on their progress, and leveraging the database as a single source of truth.
Hmm. That's interesting. You know, being in the infrastructure business, there's lots of applications that we see projects on the tower side, we see projects on the fiber side. Obviously, the data center business is exploding, but it seems to me that this would be a natural fit for any of those types of projects.
Yes, yes. And we're a proud supporter of your database, right? You're providing industry data to your customers through the structure of the and the format of the database.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of usage and a lot of good feedback on the ability to analyze the market in a number of different ways, but either by count of towers, by types of towers, by time intervals, whether constructed, towers that exchange ownership. This is all valuable information that an individual could go into the FCC or FAA databases and spend time trying to extract similar data, but it's so much easier we find and our subscribers find that the OneVision database that we offer with all the tower data is really quite efficient and productive. And the fact
Mhm.
now that we have not only the U.S. but Canada included, it gives us quite a picture of the tower business in North America, and that I don't think we'd have otherwise. To be honest with you, it would mean a lot of digging and
For
trawling
sure.
through public databases that are just not organized in the same way.
And it changes on a frequent basis, right?
It does.
That's one of the things that I found challenging with the data is it there are so many players, right, that are bringing in information on a daily basis.
Yep.
It's changing on a daily basis. Everybody's going to freak out as soon as the forecast changes on their project. And
Yeah.
and if they're not aware of that, right, or if they're not understanding why that changed, then the questions start flying. What, how come
Hmm.
this changed? I need
Hmm.
to know why, right? And that's the kind of the experience I've had with executing projects is you told me it was this, but now it's changed to that. Tell me why. And you need the power of being able to answer that why.
The operators can certainly benefit from this. Are contractors using this as well? I mean, the contractors that are working for the infrastructure companies or end user organizations.
Yes, as both customers for us or customers with those carriers or those service providers as vendors, and they are allowed access in based on the governance or the
Hmm.
security permissions through
Hmm.
security roles that are defined before using and interacting with the data.
As with contractors, the big deal is that once the project finishes and they file their closeout reports, and then they expect to be paid. Well, they oftentimes there's lots of disputes in terms of the timing and the accuracy of these final reports, but it seems to me that you're able to keep that fairly current and accurate right up to the time the project wraps up.
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why we want those departments exposed to the data from the beginning
Hmm.
of the project to the end, right?
Hmm.
When a company is building their bill of materials, their BOM, right, as we're often calling it,
The
and they
bond,
get
yes.
to yeah, they get to the end of the project and they've built it, and somebody's going out and doing a field audit through Field Vision, our mobile application, and they're checking off on that BOM. They're
Right.
checking off on the deliverables. And then when the vendor needs to complete that BOM analysis or that checklist, if you will, that needs to go back in as part of their closeout process, milestones have to be actualized, deliverables have to be uploaded. And when all of those deliverables are satisfied through the purchase order or the service order that they have with their customer, then those can be checked off and invoices can be approved for payment.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, that's always a big issue, and it's getting better. Like I said, there are other tools out there, but this seems to be one of the more comprehensive ones that's available on the market.
Simple or complex, right? There's a lot of different ways you can manage the data and what's going
Hmm.
to be the most effective and most efficient for you. There's a
Hmm.
lot of processes we've worked with customers over the years that are simple and easy, right? I submitted this, checked off, it's approved, right? But if I'm going through a complex process where I have a lot of different groups that have to review and approve, and a lot of different reports that have to be analyzed to confirm that that deliverable is completed, that workflow, as we've heard in the industry, that business process that we've heard in the industry, there's a lot of those that have become very complex. And we spend a lot of time with customers just to kind of give you another example where we're mapping out how their data needs to be. What is their process steps? If
Hmm.
they don't, if they don't have their process steps, let's work together, kind of like using that whiteboard, so to speak, of
Yeah, yeah.
how does A connect to B?
That's awesome. Well, look, this is really interesting, and as we talked, I can speak from experience with using the platform myself, and how efficient and robust it is. It's amazing. You change a parameter, search parameter, all of a sudden you're looking at a whole different set of data. But nice to have. But
Yeah.
so, just any other final remarks or thoughts you'd like to share with us on the platform?
Again, I'm here because I believe in the platform. I am excited every day about providing some solutions to our customers. It can be difficult at times, right? It can be
Hmm.
very challenging to try to understand the data and the data needs. And it really helps me in my current job at OneVision using the platform on a daily basis to do
Hmm.
my job. But it
Hmm.
also it also is a way for me and others on my team to deliver for the customer, how to best manage that matrix of complexity. I may only have a few blocks, but I have a lot of others that are also out there as my project or as my program expands, it just starts to build up. And at times can be very, very daunting to say, I don't know how to do this. Or I have some solutions in mind. What's it going to take to do that?
Right. Awesome. So how can interested parties find out more about OneVision's products and services?
OneVision.com. Come and
That's
visit
it.
us, schedule a demo, contact me, contact others within our organization. We would love to work with you and help you understand how to create a simple or complex organization of your data.
That's vision with a Z, not an S, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Uh, well, great, Paul. This has been a really interesting, informative conversation. I appreciate your time.
No, thank you. This has been great.
And thanks everyone for listening in. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to Tower Talks. To subscribe to our podcast, our daily newsletter, or use our other industry resources, please visit InsideTowers.com. Until next time, you've been listening to Tower Talks from Inside Towers, the wireless infrastructure industries podcast.